Hello and welcome everybody to All the Rage Sports Podcast. Today with us we have our normal analysts of Jace, Junk, and Kevin Robinson. And we have a special guest of our biggest fan, Mr. Bill Burk. How are we doing today, Bill?
Good. Thanks, fellas. Thanks for having
Yes,
me.
it is
What's up,
awesome
Uncle
to have you
Bill?
here today. Uncle Bill is here. I love that. I love you're sporting the Ravens hat today. That's awesome. Got to keep it fresh.
Got the John Harbaugh look going.
He
The
does.
man's got-
He really
the
does
man's
with the
got
headset.
His team hat on. He's got good lighting, and he's got his microphone on. He's ready.
He's doing better than Andy's ever done so far. So,
And the shitting on Andy starts.
well, I mean, if he's not here, so Andy right now actually is having some internet issues, and Andy lives out in the middle of fucking nowhere. So, his cell service is absolute garbage. So without his Wi-Fi, he really can't podcast. So luckily, we were having Bill on for a guest today, so he just gets to fill in instead. So we thank you for being here, Bill. We really appreciate it, and it's gonna be a good show.
Thank you.
Today, we're gonna talk a little bit about. There's been a lot of developments with COVID. For the biggest thing, the season's finally starting. The off season has officially ended as of, I believe it's today, was the official end of the off season, starting into the regular season, where preseason should have technically been starting at this point, training camps, etc. People are reporting to camps to get their COVID testing. Veterans are, and then it'll be rookies and etc. If I'm not mistaken, what I heard was you have to have 3 negative tests to be able to continue. So we'll talk a lot about on this, but it's a lot of COVID talking about opting out and what this training camp's going to hold, and just what in general the season's going to hold with what the fuck's going on in the world right now. Also, after all of that, we're going to we're going to bring it in, and we're going to bring our official Ravens expert and Bill over here. We're gonna talk a little Ravens, talk a little AFC North, see what we're expecting from the Ravens this season, and we're gonna do this, week in and week out. We're gonna add some new faces, some fun guest stars to come in and talk about their teams, to really just give us another insight, something that's other than Kevin being his dickish self, and Jace being his opinionated, angry self. So,
I mean, if I was being my dick, I'd be a lot bigger in the screen right now.
That's a lie. That's a lie and a half. I've seen it. Don't lie.
You have not seen my dick.
I feel like I've probably seen your dick. I know that you've seen my dick.
No, I haven't
feel
seen
like
your
you've
dick
seen my
either.
dick.
I have not.
Well,
seen your dick.
we've seen each other's balls at least.
That's it. You might have got a side view of Shaft, but you did not see the dick.
All right, so we're gonna have
Moving on.
Moving on. We're gonna have all that and more coming for you on All the Rage Sports.
Are you ready?
All right, guys. So yeah, there's been a tremendous amount of developments coming out.
But first, I had something that I wanted to
Yes,
remember.
Kevin wants to start off the show. He has a little message here, so I want to let him go about and do his thing. It's pretty important.
Now, a lot of people that watch the NFL draft and things may have already heard of this young man, but a little guy by the name of Little Mo. He was a big Baltimore Ravens fan, Baltimore Orioles fan from the city of Baltimore. It had him do a lot of things. He is the only person to have read a draft pick off with Braille. He actually got to go and call a Baltimore Ravens game in their booth, and had this past July actually had the opportunity to go on 105.7 in Baltimore and host his own sports talk show for a day. I first heard of Little Mo because I'm a fan of the DA show on CBS Sports Radio, and he started calling them and other sports state channels at the age of 9 years old without his mother's knowledge when he'd get home from school. And he was very insightful and would sit there and rattle off all these different stats and things, and very bright young man. But then they soon found out, they asked him, well, because the one show was an overnight show, why are you calling us this late? And it was because he was no longer in school. He was being homeschooled because he was battling cancer. He went through 4 bouts with cancer, had lost his eyesight, and just he was like, they have all these different clips they'll play of him on the shows that he was on. He was always a very bright kid and always had a really good laugh. And they the Baltimore Orioles yesterday actually inducted him into their Hall of Fame.
Wow.
And then it was about 5 hours after that Little Mo lost his battle with cancer. So, R.I.P. Little Mo.
Mm-hmm.
This one's for you, Little Mo. Yeah, that's a pretty touching story. It's really nice to see when teams, give a big impact in someone's lives. It's good to hear that, he was able to do some of the things that no one will ever get to do. It's really sad to see a life, cut short like that, but I'm glad to hear that he got to experience some of those things with some of those major teams, and being inducted to the Hall of Fame over there. That's a pretty big deal. So he'll forever be shrined over there.
Enshrined.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
All right. So let's start to dig in a little bit. So the NFL has laid out essentially this giant list of guidelines for players for this coming season, thanks to lovely COVID-19. Some of them correspond with they're not allowed to go to nightclubs or concerts or just to someone else's house with over 25 people. It's really extensive, some of these guidelines that they're restricted to. Now, obviously, they're still going to have to travel for games with the teams, and there's still going to be the social distancing guidelines there. But an NFL roster, you're talking 52 players almost at that point, traveling and still trying to keep all these type of guidelines. So the NFL put place a opting out, essentially, where a player can opt out for medical reasons. If they were to opt out for a medical reason, they could essentially get their $350,000 a year, and then essentially count it as a year. So say it's the last year of your contract, you can opt out, and then you become a free agent at the beginning of next season. Then there's also a non-medical opt-out, which gives you, I believe it's 100 or 150,000.
150.
150. And then that doesn't prorate the year.
And
if I'm not
also,
mistaken.
it's not getting 150. It's a loan, because if you were set to make $1 million, your next season you would make 850.
Yes. So it
But
essentially
as Pat
takes from
McAfee
further
said,
contracts.
As Pat McAfee said, an interest-free $150,000 loan isn't a bad thing.
Yeah, precisely. So there has been a number of people that have opted out. There's been actually 6 Patriots that have opted out. Some of the big names being Marcus Cannon and Dante Hightower, who both are opting out for the entire 2020 season. There is reports I'm seeing on NFL right now that Damian Williams, running back
I have the
for
list
the
right here.
Chiefs.
I can
go ahead.
off the list.
Go off this list real quick, because this is what we have got up to date.
Voluntary opt-out so far. The Baltimore Ravens is DeAnthony Thomas and offensive lineman Andre Smith. Bills defensive tackle star Latualele. Dallas Cowboys cornerback Maurice Canaday. And wide receiver Stephen Guidry. Green Bay Packers wide receiver Devin Funchess, which was a free agent pickup. Houston Texans defensive tackle Eddie Vanderdoss. Kansas City Chiefs, that offensive lineman Dr. Laurent Duvernay Tardif. And then the Patriots had, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 voluntary. It's Dante Hightower, Dan Vitale, Brandon Bolden, and Nigel Torin. The Eagles
Brandon
had
Bolden was
Marquise
another one
Goodwin.
of the bigger names for Patriots that I remember the hearing.
He's like 4th on their running back depth chart.
Yeah,
probably.
but he's also been there for so goddamn long. He's like their fucking Kevin Falk.
Seattle Seahawks Chance Warmack, offensive lineman. Tennessee Titans offensive lineman Anthony McKinney. The higher risk ones, which would be your medical, were defensive tackle Michael Pierce for the Vikings, which is a big miss there because they picked him up to fill a hole.
Yep.
And Marcus Cannon, offensive lineman for the Patriots, and
He was
Washington,
a lymphoma.
the Washington football team.
Yeah,
Was defensive end
lymphoma
Caleb
survivor.
Brantley. Unspecified opt-outs is Jordan Mack, linebacker for the Panthers, Bears defensive tackle Eddie Goldman, Browns guard Drew Forbes, and tackle Drake Dorbeck. Both, I think, were like backups.
I
So
believe
no big
Goldman was something about asthma, if I'm not mistaken, what I heard today. He has asthma, and that can be make him high risk.
Deal. Broncos defensive tackle Kyle Pecco, Lions defensive tackle John Atkins, Chiefs running back Damian Williams, Patriots safety Patrick Chung.
Yep.
Saints tight end Jason Vanderlaan and tight end Coolwick. So 2 tight ends. That's not good.
Yeah.
Giants lineman Nate Solder. Jets lineman Leo Kaloa Matangi. You'd have really screwed that one up.
Oh yeah, I would have butchered
And
the
Eagles,
fuck out of that one.
Okay, they have Marquise Goodwin twice on here. So Marquise Goodwin opted out twice.
Opted out twice. Okay. Yeah, and just a quick side note: number 4 ranked in the 2020 rank is Patrick Mahomes. He was not number 1, believe it or not.
Wow.
And I don't believe Lamar Jackson's been noted, so Lamar Jackson is going to be in the top 3.
That'd be crazy.
No, it wouldn't.
It
No?
wouldn't. It
Over
wouldn't.
Mahomes?
I see. I don't think I'd put Lamar over Mahomes, but I could see them doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's this year's MVP. Mahomes was last year's. He's
That's
so
true.
2019.
That's true. He's so 2000. I hate you. But okay, so here's the thing. Like every day we're seeing more and more of these players opt out. And obviously there's time. Like I said, everything hasn't been fully finalized. So the deadline has not been set for the time that they are allowed to say, that they're opting out. So my big real question for you guys is, do you have anybody in mind that you can think of that you could see opting out? And how many star players are going to start opting out? And if that happens, is that going to cause like a domino effect through the league where you're seeing, okay, I don't know if it's going to happen, but say Odell Beckham fucking opts out. Okay, what's that going to do for the wide receivers? Is that going to cause a trickle-down effect? So, I mean, give me some insight. What do you guys think going on here? Because I have so much going through my head on this. Like, I don't even know what to think.
Jace?
I got nothing.
Bill?
So, I mean, but that's it, though. Like,
I got
have
stuff, but I'm trying to let other people go.
Go ahead. Go for it. Go for it.
Yeah.
Maybe we can feed off of that.
Well, I think really what you're going to see is it's just going to be more of what we've already been seeing. It's going to be guys who have a reason to opt out. There's not a lot of guys who've opted out without a reason. I mean, even the Chiefs guy, he's a doctor. He's got things he could be doing that better serve his time right now.
He was the start, and he does a clinic in like Montreal or something. He's been working in. You're talking about the offensive lineman?
Yeah. Dante Hightower just had a kid 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
That's why he's opting out. But you're going to see a lot of guys there. This is 85% African American population in the NFL. There are a lot of people in that community that carry the sickle cell anemia trait, which is an immune deficiency, which makes them higher risk. So you'll see a lot more people, that will probably opt out due to medical reasons because of that even. So I think you're going to see some more. Where we're really going to see it, though, is on the college level. I think they've already started that, and they think that it's going to be just a wave of oncoming opt-outs in the college level. But I think the NFL, you'll see, I'd say at the most 25% of the roster will be gone. Which, I mean, when you break it down, that's not a huge number. That's like, you got a 50-man roster. You're talking about 12 and a half people. So you cut one guy in half and then 12 more, and that's how many you'll be missing.
Thank you, Kevin. I'm glad you explained that. But no, you got to think about it. Out of those 12 people, you're probably getting anywhere from 2 to 4 starters. And
yeah,
whether that be on the defensive side, offensive side, or both, that's a drastic impact on a team. That's essentially like a season-ending injury that's happening that you got to make up for that you weren't planning on. Obviously, no one plans on having season-ending injuries, but that's essentially what this is breaking down to. With Dante Hightower out, they were talking today on the Sirius XM about the inside linebackers for the Patriots. There's really no one left after him. They let a lot of linebackers go with Kyle Van Noy, Jamie Collins. They let a lot of people go. And then Dante Hightower is supposed to be the one that, is the mainstay. Now he's gone. They have I think it's a 2-year. I think it's a 2-year player starting, and that's what they got. So it's going to change their defensive scheming. Are they going to run more nickel now and run more of a 4 to 5 DB set at all times instead of that 2 linebacker in the middle? Are they going to run a 4-3 more because they need to have more pass rush from their defensive line instead of a linebacking core? So it's going to change drastically on some teams. One person I definitely see going to be opting out in the next few days is James Conner. James Conner is a Hodgkin's lymphoma survivor. That is exactly what Marcus Cannon is opting out for. I feel like he's going to be opting out soon. That's going to change the backfield dynamic for the Steelers drastically because they were expecting him to come back healthy this year and be the feature back with maybe Benny Snell following up as the third down kind of running back. But
Le'Veon Bell coming back to town.
Yeah. Right. Well, hey, the Jets are trading everybody, so why the fuck not?
That's one thing I could see being an effect too on this is teams that are in the middle of a rebuild. A lot of guys who might say, you know what, we're not even trying to win this year. Why would I come play?
You're going to see all those veterans.
Adam Schefter, immediately after all those Patriots players announced they were opting out, sent out the tweet, what does Bill know? What Bill knows is that Trevor Lawrence is going to be the number 1 pick in the next draft. And I can see a few more Patriots opting out.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it makes sense. You can tell that TB12 leaves the Patriots and then everybody starts opting out of the season. They know this is going to be a horrible season. I believed in Belichick. I said it on this show that I believe that Belichick will have a better season than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will. But at this point, I don't think it's going to be true. I mean, there's too many of them opting out. You can't lose your starting tackle. You can't lose your starting middle linebacker. You can't lose one of your heavily used scat back type of players and your starting safety. That's a fucking heavy loss.
You hate to see it.
Yeah.
It couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
Darn. Shucks. Hecky darn poop. No, but there's also some releases about like Lane Johnson testing positive for COVID. Kenny Galladay has tested positive for COVID. There's a bunch of people even just in general talking like how many of these games are going to be canceled because of COVID, of a large infection in the area or something, and then the game's going to be canceled. How are they going to make that up? Like NFL's never really done that where a game's been canceled and made up very often. They can't do double headers in NFL, like the MLB can do. So it's just the more and more I look at this shit, the more and more I'm worried that this season's not actually going to happen. Like,
Yeah, Brad said the same thing. He don't think it's going to happen either.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's hard to even say it's going to because there's already been reports on people having it, training camps getting slowed down because that's what they're doing is testing before they even are able to start in training camp. So these people are already being held out of training camp. Training camp's cut short from it.
After last weekend, I was kind of discouraged about it as well because of what we saw happen with the Marlins. But then throughout this week now, as more reports come out, I'm slightly getting encouraged because now it's coming out that the Marlins, one, might have been off at a club not doing what they're supposed to do, and that's how they got it in the first place. And also that it hasn't gone anywhere outside of the Marlins organization. None of the other players that they played with got it. Nobody else around him got it. And that's the only team in MLB that's had any issues so far. So, it's just going to depend on what the trends are at the time. I mean, I just was reading a news article the other day. They were down to 2 cases for a month period in Australia, and they're back up to 500 a day now.
Yep.
So it'll all depend on where we're at trends-wise, I think.
Yeah,
as to whether
I
we
agree.
see football or not.
But that's it. Like, they can do all these efforts to prevent it, but there's nothing that's going to prevent it besides not doing what they're like, not having the sports, not having anything but sitting at home all day until the disease eradicates itself. I mean, I get people want to live their lives, go on, but I mean, they're going to have it. It's going to happen. There was talk about how shit. I lost my train of thought there. It's essentially been like with the Marlins, like you said, it has been an isolated incident. So now there's teams stuck down there that were supposed to play the Marlins, and they can't do anything. They got to just come back and quarantine essentially because they can't play those games. The big thing I was going to say, excuse me, I finally remembered it. There's NFL guidelines on what the players can do, and I think I mentioned that earlier, where they're not allowed to go to nightclubs, etc. Teams are allowed to do their own thing. One of the things like the Detroit Lions has talked about been about like when they're staying in hotel rooms, they're going to have independent parties come in and disinfect them rooms with medical grade disinfectants. Stuff like that has been opted by different organizations to help take further precautions. I don't think any of that is going to do anything. Like it's not going to change it in any way, shape, or form. There's still going to be cases.
It won't wipe the stripper off of you.
That's right. This guy coming from the team that he roots for in Las Vegas.
I'm speaking from not experience yet, but probably experience at some point.
Yeah. You can't rub that body glitter off very easily.
Maybe they'll all be like, because of the COVID, I saw like a lot of strip clubs are going to like drive-through now, so hopefully we'll avoid it.
You just drive through, they shake their titties, you throw them a $1 bill, make sure they spray it with some disinfectant beforehand, and they shove it in their thumb.
Yeah.
No, can't use cash. You got to swipe the card.
Yeah. Do you take debit here? There's a coin.
See, and that's just another way for the government to taxate the fucking strip clubs.
Strippers are people too. Just kidding.
Oh, it just reminds me. There's no glass seal slippers in college.
So I think one of you mentioned it on the college level earlier. Has there been like drastic developments on the college side?
They had one guy who's going to be a top 10 pick at corner already opted out for the season, and reports are that this is the first in a wave. So there will
he's
be a
kinda
lot of
leading the
guys.
pack. And that's what
Yeah,
I'm
a lot of
talking
guys are
about.
going to opt out and be like that are coming out this year kind of situation. And that's, he was already slated to be one of these guys at the top of this draft class. So he doesn't have anything to lose. So I think you'll see a lot of those guys, maybe even like a Trevor Lawrence or something like that, who's everybody already knows Trevor Lawrence is going to be the first overall pick this year.
Yeah.
This is kind of like when dudes, say you play for Oregon or something like that, and the team doesn't perform up to expectations, and you play in some useless bowl game. And you get seniors now that are like worried about their draft position and injuries and this and that, and they just won't play the bowl game. They'll just be like, nah, I'm done. Nice knowing you. I feel like that's what a lot of guys who think they're, they got people whispering in their ear that they're top 10, top 15 picks. Even if they don't necessarily have a reason to sit out, I feel like just to protect that position and that value, instead of going out and, like I said, either A, having a bad year, or B, getting hurt, you could easily just rest on your laurels, go work out for a whole year, and then just get ready for the NFL.
Jesus fuck, Kevin.
Sorry. I tried to get to the mute button.
All the oxygen out of the room.
I was waiting for your kids to fly by.
All right. Well, I mean, it's going to be a major development coming up, like in this probably next coming week. It's going to be a drastic change. I'm waiting for that perennial Pro Bowler to just opt out. I'm going to see like Aaron Donald opt out, or somebody that is the mainstay staple in a team opt out and be the reason that the rest of these players are following.
I'll tell you what,
suit.
something me and Bill can agree on. I think us being responsible adults and just being able to just recognize the severity and the seriousness of the situation, I think we should both realize that Ben Roethlisberger has some young children, and he should probably just opt out this year and just go home and just, rest up. He's got an old body. He's beat up. Just come back next year. Come back new and improved.
Hey,
I'll second
as long
that.
as the defense is all still there, they added another team to the playoffs this year, so the Steelers will still get in. So they would have last year.
God.
They would have been in the playoffs last year.
That's true. I'm not saying we would have done anything. We just would have been there.
You know who wouldn't have been in the playoffs last year with an extra team?
Yeah, who's that?
Raiders.
Oh, you mean the team you predicted to win the Super Bowl?
Hey, shut up. We're picking on Chase now. Get the fuck out of here. What the hell are you doing?
Oh, my bad. All right,
Friendly fire, you son of a bitch.
The Steelers would have made the playoffs last year with Mason Rudolph and Ducky Hodges. Got it.
Oh,
Good to know.
oh. Makes me vomit in my mouth.
Yeah, the Mason Rudolph part. Ducky Hodges, I'm all for.
Kevin, here it is. There you go. Jesse, you can
That's
have
not
something
bias.
too.
It's a fact.
This
The
is
Steelers
real.
were the.
It's not a fucking fact. They both
It is a
suck.
fact. They would have been 7 seed.
They would have
and
been
this
the
year it would have been.
seed.
They would have been 8. And like it's not a joke. They actually would have been in the playoffs had it been this year.
Yeah.
This year. You mean the year we haven't played yet? Is what you're saying?
No, but I'm saying they added the 7th seed. Like it's a
Now,
it's a
you know
fact.
he can't talk, right?
Oh, here we fucking go. Oh, the year that hasn't been played with the defense
Oh
we
my
have
God.
now.
That's
that we
not.
get rid of. Okay, hold up. Let
But
me
it's
clear it
not
up
what
for
he's
you.
saying. He can't speak the language
let me
right,
clear it up for you.
man.
What
Let me
I'm
just say-
saying is.
Shut up. I'm talking.
Oh, sweet
What you're
Christ.
saying is This
Oh,
defense last
let's
year,
go on
if
this
we
tangent. I'll
still
take
wouldn't
all
have had Ben, if we wouldn't have had Mark Barron, and we would have had this year's defense, we'd have made the playoffs. Is what you're trying to fucking get at, and you are psychopath.
Where did Mark
That's
Barron
not even
come
close
from?
to what he's talking about.
Where did you come from with Mark Barron in this one?
Well, no, you're saying. So the
He was
core of your
trying to
argument,
confirm what I said, that the Steelers were the 7th seed
They
last
would
year.
have been
and would
the
have been in
seventh
playoffs.
seed had
That's
this
what he meant.
year's rule been in effect last year. Is that better?
So you just went on a tangent about how he's saying the Steelers without Ben were going to get in the playoffs this year,
so
and that's
you're-
not what he was saying.
No.
So what you're saying is never mind.
What I'm saying is they ended the seventh seed in the AFC. Had this year's rule of the seventh seed getting into the playoffs been in effect, they would have been in the playoffs. Had they done anything in the playoffs? Absolutely not. They would have lost the first round. But all I'm saying is they would have been in the playoffs.
Well,
Welcome to the Always Wrong
Well, hang
podcast,
on.
Bill.
well, shit.
Thanks, guys.
That rule didn't, happen until this year.
Yes,
So.
it didn't. And that's what I'm saying. Had it have happened, I'm going to use 3 H words in that sentence. Had it had happened
Had it had happened.
in the previous year, then yeah, they would have. But it didn't, so they weren't. So that's all I'm saying.
Well, yeah, you're right, but it didn't because they suck. So, what's your point?
They did. I'm not disagreeing with you. They were god awful besides their defense. All right, let's move on to some other AFC North team. So we have Bill here,
Fucking
our
Ravens.
resident Ravens expert. Resident
Ravens
have a
expert.
running back for a quarterback expert.
See the
Mr.
abuse
I
I
almost
gotta
ran
deal
as
with,
many
Bill?
yards as I threw.
I see it every time I watch these videos, man.
Goddamn Ravens. Fucking hate the Ravens.
You fucking
I
hate
love
talking
you,
about
Bill. I love you, Bill, but goddamn the fucking Ravens.
You're on it for like a hot minute, and then it like
Eh.
fucking burns you up.
Yeah, it hurts. Like I have to go aloe myself afterward. Well, here's the cold hard facts. Ravens went 14-2 last year. If it weren't for some maybe inexperience by Lamar Jackson, they probably would have went really deep in the playoffs and probably would have put up a really good fight with Mahomes.
Yeah.
What did you see of their auditions in the offseason? Because they made some really, really good moves in the draft.
Yeah, I was looking on that next gen stats. They were like 3rd, and the Steelers were like 5th for like pick wise. So
Yeah.
I mean, we got a bunch of A's and B's in there. So
Well, Humphreys absolutely blew up last year.
yeah,
He
was definitely impressive.
I believe he in the top 100 was like in the top 30 or something like that, if I'm not mistaken.
I did see it, but I don't remember it now.
I'll try to find it while we're talking.
Him
Yeah,
opposite Jimmy Smith. So that's probably one of the better, I'd say, cornerback duos in the league right now. Outside of maybe Denzel Ward and Greedy Williams.
Yeah, Steelers have a good duo, don't they?
well, we
Joe
got
Hayden
Steven
and Nelson.
Steven Nelson last year, who
That's the funny
played
part. I
above
think
and
probably
beyond.
there are 3 top 5 secondaries in the NFL that's in the AFC North right now.
Watt and Dupree are
that's their
nice
linebackers.
edge rushers, yeah. And we're
Joe
only going to
Hayden
have
and,
Dupree for
Steven
this
Jackson.
next year.
Oh, okay.
But here
I'm
it
not
is.
so sure
Marcus
about that.
Peters was number 53 in the top 100 for the Ravens. Humphreys. Where are you, Humphreys? Boom, boom, boom. You guys had Ronnie Stanley at number 74. Earl Thomas at 75. Did you guys have Calais Campbell? Why do I think he was playing for you guys? I know that's not right, but where the hell are you, Marlon?
No, I think they have him now.
Marlon Humphrey was 86.
Mm.
So he wasn't on the list yet last year, and he moved up to 86. So, yeah, you had like 5 players in the top 100 on this list, and they pretty much were all defense besides your one offensive tackle, and we still haven't seen Lamar Jackson show up.
Oh,
So Lamar Jackson's going to be in the top 3. Yeah, so
Yeah.
the Ravens right now are
They did not have
obviously-
Calais Campbell last year. They added Calais Campbell this year.
Okay, that's
and
what it
got rid
was.
of Michael Pierce, which was a very good move because Pierce has already opted out for the season.
Yeah, I did see
Campbell's
that.
a little bit longer in the tooth, but he's still playing like an absolute boss at this stage in his career.
Yeah. Aaron Donald was named number 3 on the list. So we have 2 people left, and Lamar Jackson hasn't been made yet.
So either
All
it's
right.
going to be the biggest snub in NFL 100 history, or he's in the top 2.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I honestly just kind of, it would be an absolute crime if he wasn't in the top 2. But could you
Okay,
imagine
but here's the thought
the
process.
fucking uproar on every social media for as long as the end of time, all the people that would be so pissed off about that?
Here's the question, though.
Well, maybe they don't
Who
put
the
him in
fuck
because they
else
don't
is
know where to
there?
put him in as quarterback or running back.
Who's number 2 and who's number 1?
Nick
Who?
Bosa.
Nick
Has he
Bosa's
been
already
named?
been named.
Nick Bosa's ever been there?
Nick Bosa was number 17. Like, who?
I don't know.
I mean, Garoppolo wasn't noted, but there's no fucking way Garoppolo's number 2.
No.
Like, I'm looking through, and I honestly, Garoppolo's number 43. Oh, there's another one. Mark
That's
Ingram
all.
at 44 for you fuckers.
Oh, yeah. They say he's looking pretty good.
Yeah, here's the thing. Ravens have done everything right. And I hate it.
Lamar Jackson's number 1 in the NFL. They just tweeted it.
Did they? So
Yep.
who's number 2?
I'll go look.
Yeah, they haven't released it on NFL.com. They're actually doing it live.
Okay, get
As we're
ready.
doing this.
Just don't look, Jesse. You'll never guess. Everybody, who is the number 2 player in the NFL?
I have no idea.
Antonio Brown. I honestly don't know.
Russell Wilson.
Oh, that makes sense.
Now, sorry but not sorry. I'm sorry, but Christian McCaffrey, Patrick Mahomes, Michael Thomas, George Kittle, DeAndre Hopkins, Stephen Gilmore, Derrick Henry. I'm putting all those in front of him. I'm putting Drew Brees, that was at number 12, in front of fucking Russell Wilson. I'm sorry.
Well, you know why? You know why Russell Wilson was number 2 player in the NFL? Because Kevin hated him so much.
That's true.
No.
That's true. Well, you
False
do.
narratives.
2 of your most
Anyway.
hated quarterbacks in the NFL are now 1 and 2 in the NFL's top 100.
Yeah. So there you go. Lamar
It
Jackson
appears you know
of
nothing
your
about it.
Ravens, number 1 in the top 100 right now.
There we go.
So, like, what is your predictions for next year? You don't have to go like in depth through the season year, but like, are you predicting like another 14-2, 13-3 type of season?
yeah, I would go that. I'd go 14-2 again. I feel good about that.
The problem is I can't disagree with you.
I can.
That's a shitty
I
part.
can't. Not fucking happening, Uncle Bill.
I mean, from what I've been looking at, I mean, the Steelers aren't going to be too bad. 9-7-ish, you know?
They are 2/3 of the way from being at full wattage.
That is true. That's true.
I hate you.
That's your jam.
It's my new thing. It's gonna be a thing.
It's gonna be a thing. You
Mark
mark my
it up.
words. It's gonna be a thing.
Yeah. I guess it depends on them young receivers. You know what I mean? We got a couple.
That's the
ranked
biggest thing
receivers.
is, like, you have a lot of unproven receivers.
Mhm.
You had 17 tight ends. You got rid of a few of them, so
Yeah.
you kind of
And Lamar
that list
Jackson's
down.
talking about he still wants them to bring in Antonio.
That is true statement.
Okay.
Also, I just seen that
All
a few
right, so
hours
I
ago.
want to hear your take on this. You bring Antonio Brown. Is this a fuck yeah, we got Antonio Brown moment, or a holy fuck, everything's fucked, we got Antonio Brown moment?
I don't even know.
Me as a Steeler fan, I went through that. Jace as a Raiders fan, he went through that. So we want to know what it's like to be a Ravens fan and have to possibly go
it's
through
a
that.
roller coaster and it doesn't end well. I'll just tell you that right now.
It's
Well,
probably true.
I mean,
you know,
if
it's
you look
very
at
scary.
it, if you look at it through other, I think the Ravens would do it like the Patriots did it. The first sign of any kind of an issue, see you later, bye. And
I would hope so.
I
John
mean, he showed
Harbaugh
up.
is like that.
Yeah.
He showed up, caught a bunch of passes, and got a touchdown for the Patriots. And then they said, "See you later," because he threw a bag of dicks at somebody.
Yeah, it's super scary though. I know what you're saying. I don't even know. I don't know how to take that one yet.
But do you need him? Like, is that really what's missing from this team to put you over the top?
Well, I mean,
Probably
probably
not.
not.
I wouldn't think so.
Then why
Just be a-
put that risk? You know, why
Yeah,
put
I
that
don't
risk
know.
on a character issue like that?
Yeah.
Wide
tell you
receiver
what.
is a little bit of an issue, but
You count
there's
out,
more risk than reward.
count out the Patriots, the Raiders, and the Steelers. That makes 29 other teams in the NFL that I'll bet you if Antonio Brown literally showed up tomorrow looking like he half had his shit together and said, "Give me a prove it deal," they'd be like, "Okay, you're on the team."
You're right.
Yeah, any team that's going to
Except
pick
for
him
the
up
Bills,
isn't going to
'cause
give
he
him a
won't play
big
with
money.
them.
Yeah.
He's
He
not
won't
getting
play
big
for the
money
Bills.
wherever he goes.
No,
So
no,
I
he's
mean,
not.
another year he'll
he's
play for the
gone
Bills.
with that. But he's making so much big money from his rap career.
exactly. You
Well,
get him in
man.
Hollywood, Hollywood and Lamar putting out some tracks. I'll tell you.
Shit would be fresh.
No.
Let me just say.
You've heard AB stuff. It would not be fresh. Don't even.
The guy can
I've
barely
heard him
speak the
speak
English
like-
language.
Yeah. He is like 3 U's away from being a Jesse. I think the Ravens are going to have a pretty good year. I think they're going to fall a little bit down. I think it'll be more of a 12-4.
I think they're still the division winner in this group.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a close battle for the division. I think it's going to come down to the Steelers and the Ravens. And
I think it's going to come down to the Browns and the Steelers for second place.
Yeah. Honestly,
I don't
have
think
that. Yeah.
I think the Browns are going to be shit.
Here's the thing that surprises me about the Browns that they didn't do last year. Last year it was all talk. There was memes like talking about them taking down the Patriots because they were the best team to be able to do it, and they had so much talent in their roster, and no one could stop them, and they came out and fell flat on their fucking faces.
But Baker Mayfield is a less successful Jameis Winston. He went 20 for 20 touchdowns to interceptions, so he didn't even throw as many touchdowns as Jameis, and he had nowhere near the yards Jameis had. Jameis Winston's technically a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield. So I don't have very much faith at all in that Cleveland Browns team right now.
See, I do. I do because I think their head coach was horrible last year, and I think, yeah, they didn't get the grand poobah of fucking.
No, they
head
got a
coaches
head
this year.
coach who got 2 yards in a quarter and a half of football
Yes.
for an NFC championship game.
Yes.
And again, that 2 yards was from a tip pass that a lineman caught and fell forward 2 yards.
Yes. But I think he was
He
better
happened
than
to
their
be
coach
6
last
foot
year.
tall. That's how.
Well,
when
the
you
thing
fall
I like
forward.
about it is you haven't heard shit from them.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're going to hear when the season starts.
It wouldn't surprise me. I'm never going to be surprised about the Browns falling on their face. I will always be more surprised when they actually don't. But I have a feeling this year is a winning season year for them.
Yeah,
I have a feeling the Steelers don't have the wide receiver power to take over games, but they have the defensive power to take over games. So I could see them getting maybe a maximum of 11 wins. I still think the Ravens are going to run away with the division because teams still don't have an answer for Lamar. When you can put Lamar, Ingram, who the fuck's their other running back? Bill.
J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah.
Dobbins.
Yeah, they just
Wait.
got J.K. Dobbins, Justice Hill.
Hill,
Yep.
that's who I'm thinking
Hill,
of. Justice Hill. When you can put all those guys in the backfield and run that read option.
Yeah, there's 4 of
And
them
they
in
also
there right
have
now.
Gus Edwards.
Yeah.
Gus Edwards, too.
Chris Edwards did a lot of work in that read option last year, too.
Gus.
Sorry. You said, I thought I heard you say Chris.
And then
my
they
bad.
have RG3.
Yeah. And I saw some complete side note. Saw somebody post a meme that showed a picture of RG3 and said that he was the Derrick Rose of the NFL. And I was like, there's no more of a perfect comparison than that.
Yeah.
Well, no, because Derrick Rose has actually been very successful as of late in the NBA.
Yeah, lately.
But
there was that minute where Derrick Rose was supposed to be the best in the world, and then all of a sudden...
He was league MVP at one point, and then it just fell apart.
Yeah. So, yeah, somebody posted that, and I was like, wow, that's fucking... Yeah, that's true. That is something. But no, I just see them. I see them winning this division, and it's really making my dick hurt saying this over and over again. I feel like somebody's stabbing a needle into the tip of my dick every time I say it.
I don't think it's quite that bad, my friend.
It's bad. It's bad. It's real bad. It's top 10 most bad.
Top 10 most bad.
Except just at the basement. I'm looking at strength of schedule, everything. This is.
And they have the number 1 easiest schedule.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't see that one yet.
The team that went 14-2 last year has the easiest schedule in the league this year. This is getting Bill's dick hard, my dick in pain.
Yeah, I'm on Chip. Yeah.
I see maybe 3 losses this year.
And now, is that a random division loss?
Yeah, but not to you.
To the Bengals, right?
They play the Bengals week 17.
Yep, to the Bengals. Going 13-2 and then losing 1 to the Bengals.
What, do they only play 15 games?
13-2 and then losing to the Bengals, therefore making them 13-3.
There you go. Way to put it out there.
All right. Well,
Don't say there you go when I was right in the first place and you were trying to make me look like an idiot, which you didn't do.
No, you are an idiot.
All right, whatever.
Just throw out a little bit of stats here because everybody keeps shitting on what the Steelers' defense or offense could be.
Here we go.
It's all going to be the defense.
Yeah, basically.
With Mason and Ducky being the top 2 quarterbacks, Deontay Johnson and James Washington both had near 700 yards receiving. Juju in an injury-filled year had over 500 yards receiving. Jalen Samuels and Vance McDonald both had over 300 yards receiving. And that was with virtually no quarterback at all. You're bringing back Ben Roethlisberger. Those numbers are going to be at least doubled. And they weren't terrible for what they had as far as quarterbacks go to begin with.
Wait, hang on. Let me reassume my position. Okay.
That's fair.
So I think it's going to be a very competitive NFC North. I think the Ravens still take it, but I think it's going to be like a 12-4 to 11-5.
What?
I think they'll be 12. I think they'll be 12-4, and the Steelers will be 11-5.
Oh, okay. I see the basement of the Ravens being 12-4. That's the basement.
Yeah, that's where
That's if
what I
everything
mean.
goes
That's-
wrong.
Yeah. Somebody will do a little bit better against Lamar than last year. And also, he's going into, this is going to technically, I don't really count his first year as his first year. This will be in my opinion, this is his sophomore year. And we saw Patrick Mahomes in his sophomore year have a little bit of a decline as far as the stats go. And also, he dealt with an injury. So I think you could see some of those same things possibly happen for Baltimore. Hopefully somebody breaks his leg.
I don't know. I don't see it happening. I see Lamar progressing more than declining. You saw it near the end of the season where he actually started being able to pass. And he wasn't a running back that threw the ball. He was a quarterback that ran the ball. And early in the season, I kept saying it over and over again. He's not a quarterback. He's a running back that can throw. And I bit my tongue at the end of the season.
Shouldn't do that. It hurts.
And I know Bill was probably very happy to hear that episode where I said, you know what? I take it back. Lamar Jackson doesn't suck. He's actually good.
I think I said, no, he sucks. Fuck you, Uncle Bill.
After we had the same episode, we said the same thing. And I know it because it was the worst episode of my life.
That was the worst episode of your life.
It was the most painful.
There you go. I'm right with that. No, I mean, for the Steelers, nothing really stuck out there. The defense is going to be great as always, but
I look forward to those games with the Ravens, though, because
yeah,
it doesn't matter how good either team is really doing that year. Those games are always close. They're always dynamic. They're always
except for last year.
Slaughter.
Yeah.
In the second game. The first game was a close one. And actually, bullshit. The Steelers should have won that one. Fuck the refs.
Yeah. Well, what do you think? The big thing I want to get to is Patrick Queen.
Oh,
First round draft pick. This guy looks like he's probably going to be more dynamic than Mosley ever was. And Mosley was obviously the quarterback of that defense for so many years. And they've been searching for somebody to fill that hole since he left. So do you think they finally got somebody to fill that hole?
They say he plays real good, plays, hard and fast, but they say he's a little light for that position, they said. I think he's like 6 foot, 229.
That was the biggest thing with Ryan Shazier the year that him and Mosley came out together. Why they passed on, I believe it was the Steelers passed on Mosley and went with Shazier.
Yeah.
And then the Ravens took Mosley after. So that was a little bit of the same thing. They were kind of worried about his size.
Yeah.
But the guy has been dynamic in the college. Like he made play after play.
Yeah.
Well, to quote Pittsburgh Dad, and I just watched this episode yesterday, you guys may have got Queen, but we will rock you.
I actually just found something pretty interesting about the Steelers.
Oh, boy.
So when you guys were basically sitting in the playoffs in Week 14 last year,
yep.
The reason that you had won so many games is, I'm reading through these stats, there are a few key singular event statistics that correlate extremely strongly with wins. Winning the turnover battle means
Which we
you
did.
will win the game 80% of the time.
Yep.
Winning the sack battle means you will win the game 71% of the time. And
Yep.
scoring a non-offensive touchdown means you will score, or you will win 71% of the time.
It was about a 6-week span.
Last year, you guys won this battle. And every single one of your losses, you lost every single one. You didn't even beat the other team in a singular other thing. So it goes to show, like Kevin said and you guys said, your defense wasn't bad, maybe per se, but at the same time, you had to rely on things other than your quarterbacks to get anywhere last year.
And if you look at some of those
metrics, if you're just teetering on those, that's not sustainable.
Yeah, it's not. You're right.
If you look at some of those too, though, even the ones they lost by not getting to those metrics, like some of those were, I don't know how many times last year did Dante Moncrief get hit in the hands, tip the ball up in the air, in like the Seattle game, and cause an interception, which ended up costing them that game.
He solely lost a game. Like him.
Go ahead, Jace.
No, one game.
One game.
One game he lost.
Yeah, you're right. But one game would have got us in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Your in-hand ball should be your uncle, but you don't, does you?
How many games did you lose last year to the Ravens? Oh, wait, only 2. How many did the Steelers lose? 8. Yeah, big deal. There's a big difference. I'm going to blatantly admit it until we draft, until the next quarterback comes in. We may have 1 year, maybe 2 years of Steelers success, but it's going to be another 4 or 5 years before we get the quarterback until we're able to do this again.
Yeah, you guys
Yes,
are like 5 quarterbacks.
We are in the deep shit at this point.
Now I'm hard.
When Ben retires, it's going to be a 4-12 season.
Why are you excited, Jace? You
Oh.
have your quarterback.
Oh, talk dirty to me. No,
And then there will be a drafted quarterback
I want
then.
you guys to suffer so badly.
Hey, I honestly, I don't even know anything but Big Ben Steelers. Like, I remember Cordell Stewart. I remember, like, Kendrell Bell. And when they went to the AFC Championship without Ben. And then I remember Tommy Maddox. But
What
I
about
remember, like,
Frankenberry?
how crazy those teams were. I remember Ben. And I remember every single fucking team since he's joined in the league and how crazy those teams were. And then when they went down the shitter and we're having 8-8 season after 8-8 season, like, I remember it all.
It's okay, because we may suffer, but we'll never be the pit of misery that is Cleveland or Detroit.
True that.
True.
Well, Bill, do you have anything more to add to the Ravens' success? Anything else you were researching on today that you want to touch on that we can debate down?
Dylan Yonda's spot. That's gonna be a tough one.
Yonda was probably the most prolific guard in the league.
Yeah.
And that is probably the biggest loss you guys have really had.
Yeah. They got, what is it, DJ Fluker, I think is his name. He's going to try to fill in for that spot, but that's going to be a tough gig.
There is no way DJ Fluker is going to put up the kind of stats. Now, it's all going to depend on the coaching. Yonda was an all-star talent.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, years ago, I've seen offensive line coaches like Mike Munchak and stuff turn average people into great players. So it's all going to depend on the coaching because I think that Yonda's had a great coaching throughout the years, which has made him this dynamic of a player. If they can pull somebody who's been average most of his career and mold him and get what they want out of him, kind of a Belichick-ish type of way, you can see it. But that was a huge, huge problem in your run game now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's definitely going to be big shoes to fill in that aspect.
Somebody different on there. They got Patrick McCreehey or Boozman. You ever heard of those guys?
Boozman and
Bradley Boozman?
No, I don't. That might be somebody that they've kind of added too, but I don't know those ones. Let's see here. Let's go to the mall.
Today.
All right, so let's look at the depth chart real quick on the Ravens. Yeah. No block. I don't want to get updates on your fucking Ravens. All right, let's take a look here. Position battles. Pollard. Your secondary is really where your strongest suit is. You have such a strong secondary. adding Calais Campbell up front is going to be just another dynamic. Like that front with Brandon
Him
Williams
pushing up the
filling
middle
up.
with Judon on the outside.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy what you guys are going to be able to do on that defensive front. I'm seeing Ben Powers, Tyree Phillips, Will Holden, DJ Fluker, and Ben Breedison, all as your guards. You do have a few others that are guard center with Matt Sikora, Patrick Mikari,
Guru.
and Bradley Bozeman.
Yeah.
And I honestly
Ben
don't
Powers.
know.
Fun fact: Ben Powers is the person that Lil Mo actually introduced as their 4th round pick.
Oh shit! All right,
Nice.
there you go. I know that I honestly don't know who was really the starters last year. Obviously, Yonda was starting on I believe the right guard side, but I don't know who your left guard really was. I saw LJ Fort joining your team. That was a ex-Steeler who I honestly don't know why they let go. He was a huge special teams player that should have earned more time.
Yeah.
He
then-
he started for most of the year. The problem was everybody started shitting on him because they had him guarding Keenan Allen. And it didn't work out so well.
Why you would have him guard Keenan Allen is Judah Samcock, your punter. Yes, I'm going to call him Sam Cock. I don't know if that's actually how you say it, but I'm going to say it that way.
Cook. Cook. Yeah.
No, he's Cock. Oh, and you drafted Mr. Orlando Brown Jr., the son of the Hall of Famer. That was 3 years ago you drafted him.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised if he got some more playing time this year. Ronnie,
I think he was a starter last year.
I think so.
was he starting on the right side and Stanley was starting on the left? Is that what it was?
I just remember he was a starter.
Okay.
Yeah,
Every game I saw him, he was starting.
I don't remember that, but who knows? And then Ronnie Stanley obviously has been a Pro Bowler tackle for you guys. Mark Andrews blew up last season, just absolutely blew up. And then you guys got rid of like every tight end you drafted for the last like 3 years. You're like, oh, we finally got one right. Let's go and get rid of everybody else. The biggest thing that concerns me is your wide receivers. Because Willie Snead and Marquise Brown are really your two big names.
Yeah.
You got a couple rookies in there.
Impossibly Antonio Brown.
Impossibly. Who the fuck knows? But like nothing really shoots out at me and says, this guy is a dynamic playmaker. I think if anything is weak on that team, that's the position.
Yeah, for sure. It'd be the wide receivers, yeah.
And with everything else, though, there's so many more. Every fucking position group is dynamic. It's just so hard to say anything about it. I guess it's really going to come down to what are the injuries that are going to happen? How is this COVID season actually going to lay out? And that's really the gist of it. I think this team is the division winner. I think this team is a AFC championship playing team.
I'd agree with that.
All right. Well, Kevin, do you got anything or on a side note to add?
Jace, golf.
Yeah, you want to give us a little golf update there, Jace? We'll go with that.
Oh, really not a whole lot's happened. No COVID, thank God. There was a couple pop-ups at the beginning of the season, but they appear to be one of the sports that is actually handling it pretty well. They played 3M Open up in Minneapolis. It was a very weak field, but a nice story. A guy by the name of Michael Thompson. I think his last win was 2013. He's had a bunch of starts, injuries, just adopted a kid, this and that, and came out. If you haven't seen it, go look up his bunker shot. He had a ridiculous bunker shot from like maybe 25 yards on 17 that he hit dead left of the flag, and it had so much spin on it going to the side that it started out this way, maybe started about 6 feet right, and then rolled down to maybe about, I think, 1.5 feet to the hole. Like some
Jesus.
absolute, like, big balls, like lay it all on the line shit. Like you know how fucking big your dick has to be to look at that and go, okay, I'm gonna hit this ball. It's gonna land right here on as fast as those greens were, and it's gonna go straight at the hole. Like that's, and he's, like I said, the guy's last win was in 2013, and he can do shit like that is unreal. That just shows how good every single one of those guys are.
That's bonkers.
Yeah, they're playing the WGC in Memphis. I think it's the WGC St. Jude's Children's Hospitals Open, something or other, whatever the hell they call it now. But yeah, no cut event. It's really only the big boys. With fucking hitting a deer on Sunday and everything, I haven't even had time to look down at the field and see who's even playing this week. But like I said, I think it's 70 or 80 players, and it's the best American and European guys all over the world, and they all basically get them together. The nice thing is, like I said, no cut, so you could have some guy go out and be absolutely shit Thursday and Friday, and then make a run and make like a top 10 on Sunday, just because, you know, there's no ramifications. You can just go out and fire away and say fuck it. But if I had to take a pick, I'll just take Burk and Koepka, just because.
Pretty sure Justin Thomas won the last time I picked him, didn't he?
No, funny story. You always take Taylor Gooch, and he was actually the first. He was, I think, the leader in the clubhouse at the end of the second round on Saturday last week, and then he kind of fell apart. It was like, I swear
Well,
to
I think
God,
like 2 weeks ago, Justin Thomas was 15 under and leading the tournament.
Yeah,
like
but he
the
hasn't won.
last podcast we did.
Yeah, well,
Well, he was
I think
close.
the last podcast we did, he lost to Colin Morikawa. I think we already covered that. But yeah, anyhow, I haven't really done any picks. Like I said, my life's been kind of fucking crazy lately, so that's actually probably what I'm going to go do after I get done with this podcast, is make a couple bets and look what's going to happen this week. So
FanDuel's doing a thing right now where you get $100 back on a $100 bet.
Oh,
You
don't
miss
I
it.
know it, baby.
Well,
One thing I also want to add is that the NBA right now has been performing all their games in the what they call now the Orlando bubble. They have essentially locked down all the players in this bubble and have had 0 incidents with COVID. Obviously,
they made a little bit of news this week. Lou Williams had a pass to go outside of the bubble, and there was photos of him at a strip club eating chicken wings, which then so everybody was all like flipping out. But when the whole story came out, there were no strippers in attendance. This is actually a strip club that is world renowned for its chicken wings, and he was actually there eating chicken wings.
Just there for the wings.
Nice.
And he was there, and that's somebody, Kendrick Perkins tried calling him out on it, and he said, "Listen, I was being tested every day that I was out on that permitted leave, and when I came back, I immediately, as would anybody else, went into a 10-day quarantine where I would be tested every day until I completed that." So they're taking very big measures, even if you have to leave for a family emergency of any kind. You have to go through all these protocols.
I think some good ass chicken wings is an emergency.
I think 10 days not playing in the NBA is worth those chicken wings.
You know those chicken wings got to be good for there to not even be any strippers there. And Lou Williams took his time and went, you know what? I'm going to go to Magic City and get me some wings.
We got to go to the chicken shack.
I had to laugh. So I have sports radio on all day, so the Rome show was on, even though I don't really care for Jim Rome. And somebody called into the show and said he wasn't there for the wings, he wasn't there for the thighs, he wasn't even there for the breasts, he was there for the clams.
I see what they did there. I think it's been pretty awesome to see all the different sports and how they're handling this. And by next week, we may have a whole lot more shit to report. hopefully next week. Is anything else you want to add on your Smith XC?
Oh yeah, I got some stuff here. I got some stuff to end the
Go
show.
for it. Go for it. Go for it.
I've got to revive the new segment that we have here. By the way, everybody, Jesse Baden just announced this weekend that it's going to be 2 boys. So he's got 2 boys a coming.
2 boys, baby.
So, in honor of that, it's dad joke time.
Ba-dum-bum-bum.
My wife was working on a crossword and asked for a sport that starts with a T. I replied golf. I was watching an Australian cookery show, and the audience clapped when the chef made meringue. I was surprised, as Australians normally boomerang. What kind of bagel flies? A plain bagel. And finally, Karl Marx is an historically famous figure, but nobody ever mentions his sister Anya, who invented the starting pistol. Marx.
All right. Wow. That one took a minute. That's some fucked up shit.
Okay. Now, in other news, Smith XNC, our buddy Smith at Smith Nation, there
Anya Marx. I'm sorry. What the fuck?
Each day we grow farther and farther from God's light.
Oh shit! All right, go on.
All right. Well, Smith has taken a slight break in his his streaming here as of late, and Bipolar, member of Smith Nation, is kind of taken over with the RSR thing. So we had Word Burton winning the last, or not Word Burton. I'm sorry, Rocky Top winning the last race. They were at Michigan, and he won that one, so he's gotten himself a little bit more into the point lead there. Still got, I think, 3 races left to go. They're off this week, and then next week head to, I believe, Watkins Glen for the next race. So,
my favorite road
be
course.
Interesting, guys. A little bit of different racing going on there for these guys getting ready for the playoff run here. I actually have started running with the 3-Wide Racing League on Thursdays and Saturdays now, so I will be racing at Eldora this week.
So if you want to see Kevin wreck on turn 3,
yeah, tune in. But that's all I've got.
All right, Bill, I want to thank you for being here with us today. It's awesome to have you as the marquee first guest analyst on the All the Rage podcast. We are happy with your insight today and to hear about your Ravens. And
when they look back in the annals of All the Rage sports history, Bill Burk, first guest
star ever.
Nailed it. No,
not only
thanks,
first,
man. I appreciate it,
but the best.
It's gonna be like, when the Beatles were on the Ed Sullivan Show and shit like that.
Yeah, that's it.
Kind of iconic.
That's it. When we see fucking Bill on Fox Sports reporting on the fucking Ravens or something.
You guys fucking boosting me up, sending me through the ranks.
Damn right.
I'm not
This is just
gonna
the beginning for you, buddy.
We were just that step stool you needed, dude.
That's right.
Fucking catapult you into fucking.
Come on,
fame.
guys, a little higher. I'm almost there.
Starting next week, the Bill Burk Show.
Yeah, right.
It's not even All the Rage sports. Bill is taking over.
All right, so thank you all for joining us today. Hopefully next week we'll have another guest host. I believe my lovely Uncle Lonnie, the Browns fan, may join us. So we'll see what happens there. If not, we have a few more people in line. So we'll have another guest panelist in these coming weeks. Some of our top fans will be able to join us and talk their teams. So that'll be nice. As always, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can always go to our Spotify and listen to us on there, our iTunes as well. You can go to our host site on Transistor, see us on YouTube. You can visit our webpage on Webley, All the Rage Sports at Webley.com. And then always, if you feel frisky, donate to our PayPal. So far, my dad donating the $1 is still the only donation in there. So we'd love to see more out there. We really appreciate it.
Did we have to pay taxes on that?
Yeah, I don't know. If we do, then it's gone.
No, you have to earn over $1,000 before you have to fill out a 1099. So we are far away from our goal. Please
Yes.
make us have to pay
We are,
tax.
well, I will tell you, Kevin, we are
Make
exactly
us plan.
$999 away.
It's like $999 and like 42 cents.
Yeah.
Away. So we greatly appreciate you guys listening to us today. We are going to be going back to weekly, leading up to the preseason and the regular season, of course. So you will be seeing us week by week. This off season obviously has been a nut bar off season for us, with all the COVID and
Kids.
whatnot, all the kids. So all the other stuff that has really occurred during this
Jason's
time.
next.
No.
He says nay. He raps it 6 times before he taps it.
I will
I'm gonna-
not be having
I'm
children.
gonna sneak in and start poking holes.
Yeah, I got a nice pin here that'll see your Trojan man. I'll be the
What is it?
Trojan horse
It's-
and your Trojan man. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us.
Jason's like the hell with it. I'm not
Thank
rapping it again.
There was a needle dick joke in there, but I couldn't get it out.
Ah!
I see what
It's hard
you
to
were
get it
gonna
out when
do
you got a
there.
needle dick. Ah!
Well done. We'll end on that.
All right, thank you all for joining us in All the Rage Sports. As for Jace
Kelly
Junk,
Stafford sits.
Mr. Kevin Robinson, and our special guest in Bill Burk, I am
Thank
your
you.
host, Jesse Baden. Thank you, and always remember to rage on.
Praise it.